right behind me. It says, I know it's backwards. It says work smart, scale fast, and enjoy life.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I have a great guest for us today. It's Sam Mollaei of Legal Funnel. Sam, how you doing, man?
Very good. Very good. Super excited to be here, Brian.
I'm glad that we're finally able to connect. We're both two busy guys who had to keep rescheduling this conversation. So, Sam, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background as a lawyer and then as a legal tech entrepreneur now.
So I became a lawyer 8 years ago, but in my first year, I had a lot of time on my hands, so I was reading a lot of books. One of those books that I read was Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek book, where I got exposed to key principles like virtual, automation, and scale. So I quickly basically made a rule to myself that I'm going to build an automated, virtual, and scalable law firm. Fast forward, skipping a lot of stories in between, but fast forward, I've been able to duplicate this systems of automation, scalable, and virtual across 7 different law firms of my own, some that I have partners in. And at the same time, 3 years ago, I started a journey of teaching this to other lawyers. Other lawyers can also grow their own scalable and automated law firm.
Your practice started at least in California. Are you still based out of LA?
I'm physically based in LA, but a lot of things that I do are either multi-state or national, or sometimes even California based, which is pretty much the toughest market that you could be in. So sometimes if I kind of test things out in California, if I see that it's working, then I go and try to see if I can expand to multi-state.
It's just like New York. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, right? Your 7 different law firms. What kind of areas of law are you in?
Lemon law, employment law, property damage, class actions, business law, IT services, pretty much anything under the sun. I've tested it all. But the one lesson that I did learn from this experience of doing it for 7 law firms is it's just much better to go deeper into one certain practice type. So right now, even though I've been running 7 for the last 2 or 3 years, I'm looking to consolidate in 2023 and bring it down to 3 and 4 and go deep, go hard into the top ones.
And is there a strategic reason that you chose to do 7 different law firms instead of 7 practice areas under one law firm?
Yeah, because each one is its own world. Each one has its own practice type. So that one, it's its own client source, its own automations, its own teams, its own infrastructure, basically. So everything's complete on its standing on its own. The teams don't know each other. They don't even know who's who, and the people don't even know what else I'm doing.
Wow.
But a lot of it has a lot of automations. So once you set up the client generation, it's coming in. Then we have our team who handles signing up the clients. Then once they're signed up, then they're handed off to our onboarding team. Then from that to the document collection team, and that to the people that do the filings for us. And then from that to the attorneys, and then we the review collection, and then all that is pretty much created. Great, it's running. Now let's go create the next one. I've been able to kind of duplicate the process.
And as the owner, how much time are you spending in any one of those firms?
It requires having a dedicated manager, or I call them a director. So each law firm, that's the one commonality, has a dedicated director who's in charge of growing the law firm. And I basically meet with directors. And that's where most of my time goes. Basically internal meetings with the higher ends, the directors and managers, and then the directors managers basically manage the managers, and then the managers are basically managing the day-to-day operators. And
so you built out 7 different firms, but I imagine much of the structure and much of the document generation and the way the leads are handled is the same, although with different, sort of intake scripts, obviously from the employment law to the property damage law. How much of what you're doing is replicatable and duplicatable across different areas of law? And then how often are you having to reinvent the wheel as you pop up law firm 8, 9, 10?
That's actually a very good point. That was the big epiphany for me. Once you see it being built once, and I realized 80-90% of it is more or less the same kind of thing either way. There's qualifying questions, there's signing up teams, everything is more or less the same. My mentor calls it tomatoes. Essentially, it doesn't matter what you're selling, what you're offering. It's the same thing. You have a market of people that have problems. How do you get them down the funnel to get them signed up, serve them, and rinse and repeat?
And then what's your process for identifying and partnering with a subject matter expert in each of those areas? Because for instance, employment law is very different in California than it is in Nevada, than it is in Louisiana. I imagine maybe you do, maybe you don't, but you have cases coming in from all over the place, and you haven't gone and become the expert in the law in any one of those areas, probably. So how do you identify somebody who's a good partner for you to work with and vet them and make sure that the clients are getting good service?
For sure. It's definitely strategic. Everything is strategic. That means we're pinpointing exactly what's working and we know the numbers. So that's one thing. Second is the partners that we partner up with are people that are looking to scale. That means they're not looking to be a day-to-day operator. They're looking to kind of build the systems behind the things, be able to hire quickly, build a lot of automations so that be able to kind of grow exponentially really fast. I've started some law firms that basically were based on people that were involved didn't understand the whole scale model. They were basically wanted to be the day-to-day. I'm like, and that's totally fine too. Not everybody's law firm's goal should be growth and scale. But for us, basically that's where we realize that's where we want. That's where we want to be. We want to serve a bigger market. We want to grow quickly. It's a lot more challenging, but it's also a lot more fun.
Take me through a failure. What kind of practice area have you tried to operate that didn't work for you?
I don't consider anything as a failure, but I do deal with.
Take me through a life lesson then.
Right. At these days, there's two big things that happen all the time, which I'm so used to it now. One is I get copied left and right because pretty much I figure out what works, and then lo and behold, everything is out there, and people start basically trying to duplicate it. It's a good thing to get copied, but at the same time, something that I do have is a lot of data. So I'm sitting on a lot of data that becomes my competitive advantage. So that's one thing. Second thing is when you're doing hardcore client generation, you're kind of at the mercy of the platforms that you use. So these days, like literally at any point, anything could be taken away from you. So what that led me to do is diversify across the multiple platforms and being very proactive about doing that. So, multiple platforms, multiple campaigns, multiple kind of sources so that if anything goes down, which they do all the time, and actually it's something that I kind of coach our members. Things happen, it's all good. Let's fight through it. Let's try to appeal it. Let's try a different angle. Let's try different accounts, different things like that. But we just have to kind of grind through and just, tackling it head on.
And so you mentioned coaching members. You have coaching program or mastermind program. Also, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. It's for law firm owners that are growth oriented, that want to be strategic. The tagline is right behind me. It says, I know it's backwards. It says work smart, scale fast, and enjoy life. So let's talk about that. So it's for lawyers who want to work smart. That really comes down to, again, being strategic. That means kind of like being very effective with your time, doing things that are scalable, and kind of basically, doing a little bit to get a lot of output. The second part is scaling fast. Scale just means being able to grow fast. Fast is also a very important word. A lot of people that want things, but they don't want it done quickly enough, or they don't implement things quickly enough. So I kind of get you in the right mindset of quick implementation. And the third part is the first two kind of leads to enjoy life. Ultimately, I don't think life is about money. I think it's just a tool. It's a way for us to be able to do what we want to do. Some people like to spend time with their family, go on trips, whatever that is. Ultimately, those are the first two are the tools to get us to enjoy life.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing, Sam, that you have behind you is 4 very nice plaques. Are those all 2 Comma Club plaques from ClickFunnels?
Yeah. So for anybody who doesn't know what these are, if you guys are watching me on YouTube, if not, if you're on podcast, you could check them out, or just go Google 2 Comma Club. It's an award given by ClickFunnels, which is a very popular SaaS service for building funnels and systems for basically generating customers and clients online. I was able to receive it from my first law firm for generating $1 million online. And when I kind of set it up and I got the results, for my first law firm, it took me about 5,000 clients for me to make $1 million. But when I set that up, I'm like, I could probably repeat this. So I went and replicated it for my second law firm. Then at the same time, I'm like, hey, I could teach this to other lawyers. So I went on the journey teaching to other lawyers. I was able to receive it for that project. And then also I was able to replicate it for my third law firm. So I've been able to basically take the same concept and do it over and over. But what's cool about it is now our members are receiving these awards for applying the same concepts. We had Chad, who's a criminal defense lawyer. Most lawyers who join our company, they're usually between the $100K to $1 million mark. Mm-hmm. But when they come in, minimum expectation is we help them double their law firm within 12 months. Usually it takes time. It's not instant. It doesn't take weeks. It's usually more than a couple of months. I would say good amount of time is about 12 months plus. But if you stick with our program and you chip away, you're slowly, you're basically adding on 10% here, 5% here, 10% here. And then you look back 12 months later, you're like, wait a minute, I just doubled my law firm. and I just became a case study for this program.
What do you find is the main thing that breaks as law firms work with you and begin to double their revenue? Is it hiring? Is it systems? Is it phones? What's the most frequent problem that you and your coaches are having to solve?
Two things. One is a lack of focus or getting distracted by shiny object or different opportunities or things that come around us. Us as lawyers, we're in Facebook groups, we're subscribed to YouTube channels, we go on TikTok. We see things and we think that's what we have to do right now. Somebody talks about you got to do videos on your TikTok. So all of a sudden you go create a TikTok account and you start posting some videos there. And then you hear about this and you go do that. That is counterproductive. So lack of focus, lack of clarity of what will be the biggest leverage is like the biggest needle that you can have when it comes to the success of your law firm. And usually having either a community or a mentor, somebody that kind of refocus you and say, no, forget about that. You don't need that. What matters for you right now is client generation. Let's go figure out how we can double your client sources. And let's see what else we can do on the back end. That's the first thing. Second thing is not hiring enough. The biggest leverage,
the hiring and staffing needs in your firm.
Yeah, especially virtual. I'm sure you had, Brian, you had guests talking about virtual assistants. I'll just be straight up with you. It's the highest ROI investment you can make for your law firm. So hire away. And the third is the biggest problem that I found is most of the law firm owners don't know their numbers. I'm sure people have heard this too, again, from a lot of people talking about KPIs. It's super crucial. You need to know with certainty from every client source, exactly what's your cost acquisition. Should I spend more on this source? What should I do? What's everybody's desired outcome? What's the one thing that I have to do for their role? How can I track that performance? And how can I basically create a goal for them and incentivize them to reach that metric that they have to reach every month after month? If you get hardcore with your numbers, or at the very least get a director that can hold your team accountable to their desired outcome, then you will see that everything's going to go from there.
What is your background outside of law school? Because all of the concepts that you're talking about is, stuff that they're not teaching at least in any American law school. So do you have a business or an engineering background that led you to all of this process?
No formal education, but I was a little bit more entrepreneur savvy as a kid. And I don't remember when my first business was, but I'm assuming since I was like 8 or 9 years old, I would like sell different things, kind of like Gary Vee style, find our way. But my most successful thing growing up was at a tutoring company. Basically, it's a cool story. Let me actually share this. I never shared this story. I basically knew that I could tutor, but I had to get clients. So I'm like, what am I going to do? And this is actually when I look back, I realized this is like marketing concepts, which I didn't realize at the time, but that's what it was. So I'm like, how can I get clients? And I said, if people go to the honors college counseling office, then there might be a lot of students there that need tutoring. So I created a poster with basically pullouts of phone numbers. And I basically just posted one poster in the counseling office. And 10 years later, I realized that was traffic. That was the best. That was essentially my funnel to get the contact information in a perfectly placed traffic source in my counseling office. And lo and behold, I put it there, and 2 days later, get a call. A couple days later, a couple of more calls. And within 2 weeks, I had my entire schedule completely booked. And even after I got my entire schedule fully booked, and I started getting more calls, and I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, I have friends. So I started hiring my friends. So over time, after literally, it didn't take much. After a couple of months, I had an army of students that would basically go tutor, and they would give me a cut. And I'm like, great, let me give you more. And this turned to like a whole operation during high school. And I was doing it through college as well. And then I basically got accepted to law school and had to basically drop it. And then later on in my life, I'm like, damn, what happened? I always had a vision to have like the biggest tutoring company. And I'm like, wait a minute, I am tutoring right now. It's the legal funnel program. And I just didn't realize it at all. Like literally it all like came back in a full circle.
Same thing, different shape, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sam, I've heard you, I think either on another podcast or somewhere else, talk about how your secret sauce is sharing all your secrets. And one of the things that occurred to me as you were, telling the story of hiring your friends and giving them tutoring clients is the fear that would be in the back of a lot of lawyers' minds, which is I'm going to teach this guy how to go and do my job, right? How to earn income. And then he's going to go off and take my clients and go do it somewhere else. As a lawyer, entrepreneur, how do you reconcile that in your head and then get past the idea that somebody's going to take all the things that you've taught them and just go do it, better, cheaper, and on their own?
I kind of struggled with this for like the first year or two. And it was something that I basically had to really meditate on and think about. But essentially it comes down to the abundance mentality. that there's plenty of money, plenty of clients, there's plenty of information out there. And whether you're going to be the one to share or not, it's out there. And that's one thing. Second thing is not seeing it as a zero-sum game. I don't see anything in any shape or form. Just last night, I was literally at a gathering, and it's one of my good friends who also does something similar to me. We had a completely transparent, I'm just like telling him straight up, like what is working, what's not. And I'm not afraid of that. Again, because of the abundance mentality, even if he wants to go and implementing, there'll be plenty for him and there'll be plenty for me. Other thing that I learned is when I share, it's to say the highest form of learning is teaching. So as I'm sharing, I'm getting data, I'm hearing what's working. As I'm explaining it, I'm kind of realizing things. And every time that I teach, it's like I'm going on a higher level. I'm like stepping on the next pedestal. That's one thing. Other thing is when it comes to success and growth and marketing, there's always new ways, new things that are happening. And this is the only way to stay successful, is to stay on top of these up-to-date things. And that's actually, I think, one of the main benefits of our program. What worked 3 months ago, 6 months ago does not work in marketing. Right. Even a couple of weeks ago, like literally in contact with my media buyer here, did something change with Facebook ads this week? Because something seems off. And right away we communicate that and we make that quick implementation, let alone the rest of the market that could catch on to that in months and maybe years later. So it's constant, even, put it out there. It's all good because there's like always new things to do and new things to share.
Well, I think if you look around at the most successful entrepreneurs everywhere, many of them are doing exactly what you're doing, which is sharing everything, like Alex Hormozi, Gary Vee, like just kind of documenting what they've been doing and releasing it, because they know that really there is no secret to anything that we're doing. There's no profound knowledge that's in a book or on the internet somewhere that nobody else knows. The secret's all in the execution. The secret's in holding people accountable. Your managing director holding the employees and the VAs accountable to what their job is, and then executing on the plan and not getting distracted, as you said, by shiny object syndrome. Right.
The biggest secret in business is that there is no secrets in business, right? There's never one thing.
That's the podcast. See you next week.
Because there's never just one thing. It requires multiple things. It's like a jigsaw puzzle that you put together, little here, little there. And then second thing that you mentioned, it's all about the execution. I could tell you all day long about what's working right now, but until you go implement, it doesn't mean anything at all. So, that's why there is a value to a program with multifaceted program, which is the community, accountability, masterminding, thinking, support team. All that stuff is like little sketching away, of basically making it more likely for it to be implemented.
You mentioned a coach earlier. Who do you hang out with, either coaches or groups that are doing bigger things than you are?
I have a mentor, and I really attest a lot of my growth to having a mentor who cares about me, who provides me really good feedback, instant feedback about what I should do, what should I focus on, do that on an ongoing basis. And that really kind of triggered me to, when I saw the growth in myself, I'm like, this is something really powerful. What if I could do this on a scale, in a scalable model? I could kind of mentor people in a groups kind of setting. So yeah, there's a lot of leverage there. It really is a cheat code to success, by having a mentor who really cares about you.
Yeah. Are you a member of any high level mastermind groups or anything like that?
Not particularly. No, I am. Sam Owens. I'm in his program. Alex Hormozi, I follow closely, and basically just I would say just YouTube and a lot of books, basically.
Hey, hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you're a lawyer and you're looking to work smart, scale fast, and enjoy life, right below this video, you'll find a link to book a call to speak to my team, so we can tell you how we've been able to help over 500 law firm owners scale their law firm. Now back to the video.
So one of the things that we talk about a lot when it comes to acquiring new clients is this concept of stop the shop, right? Somebody clicks on your Facebook ad or whatever lead mechanism you have. Like, the number one thing as an injury lawyer that I want to do is talk to that person immediately and stop them from calling the next law firm. So apart from having a 24/7 answering service, what kind of techniques or strategies are you giving to your clients for getting the guy to either sign up on the phone or make the decision to hire before clicking on the next Google ad?
Man, you asked a good question, Brian. Write these down because you got to implement these right away. And I know this, what I'm about to share with you is right now I'm generating 15,000 to 2,000 leads a month, which comes out to about, I'm going to say like 700 to 800 leads a day. So I got a lot of experience from converting. I think there's two parts in marketing. There's always generating the leads and then converting the leads. And I think the second part is much harder. It's a lot more of like a art and science to it than generating it. So when it comes to converting leads, I'm going to give you some checklists to do. One is you need to text the lead right away. Text the lead, because most people don't pick up on an unknown call. I don't. I haven't picked up a call in the last 5 years. So text the lead right away. That needs to be set up with automations, basically. Second is dedicated intakers, not a virtual receptionist service. That is just like a stepping stone to ultimately where you want to be, is dedicated intakers. Somebody who's only dedicated to you, who's quote unquote in-house, doesn't have to be literally at your office. They're usually virtual, but who's kind of has a goal. Their performance is tracked and ideally also incentivized to achieve a certain milestone in their thing. And the third thing that I kind of mentioned is kind of the tracking goals and incentives. Every intaker needs to have those three kind of key components. If you're missing any of those, you're kind of leaving a lot of money on the table. There's particular ways to set it up. I'm sure these attorneys are like hearing, how do you incentivize intakers? There's a method to the madness. It's something to be mastermind around if you're going to figure it out.
That text tip is so good. I mean, because how many times have you gotten the phone call that, either the receptionist takes a message, because in most law firms, in my law firm, I have an intake specialist who's doing intakes, but if she's away from the desk or whatever, like the receptionist takes a message and then it's supposed to either get followed up with by me or by her. But you're right. Like, now I'm calling back from a number that's unknown, probably. And I don't know whether in the interim 15 minutes, the person has just gone to the next lawyer on Google and gone, and clicked and called them. Now, there's a school of thought that says, well, if I have a client who views me as a commodity and is just going to click the next person, if I can't get right back to them, it's probably not a client that I want in the first place. So there's that, but I don't even have the ability to screen that client if I can't get somebody on the phone with them, if I can't send them the text and get the appointment set and, kind of put my fence around them. How do you think about that? Because at the end of the day, I've got to service the client. The rush to retain somebody without doing deliberative thinking about, is it somebody who like we actually want to work with or not? Is it somebody that has realistic expectations or not? Is it somebody who can afford our services, outside of a contingency fee world, which I operate in, or not? How much client screening is going on in many of these cases where you've got a virtual staffer whose job it is to, quote, sign everybody up?
There's three parts that I think if you cover these three, I think you'll cover 80% of it. One is asking, how can I provide a pre-context before I get these leads on the phone? That means you got to ask questions up front. Say, hey, I have this problem and this problem is serious and I want to be contacted about this problem. So it's very specific questions that every lead needs to answer every time you capture a lead. Tell me what happened. Why is this important to you? How do you want us to reach out to you? Call or text? And what time is good for you? That creates a pre-context. Hey, I'm reaching out to you. This problem is serious. Second is the best form of be able to convert leads is by sharing reviews or results. Reviews is your past client success stories, or results, which for craftsmen and lawyers is as simple as pictures of your past clients receiving settlement checks. You need to build a portfolio of those things, and you need to make sure that your leads are seeing those before you get on a call. That way, again, it kind of ties into that pre-context. This ultimately, actually, now I'm realizing this all leads to KLT, know, like, and trust. In order to increase your lead conversion rates, make sure your leads know you. That means they know who you are. They know your face, they know your story, what you do, and how you help people. They must like you. That from different like is just basically being on a camera. They could, again, same thing. They could see you, they hear from you. You have some kind of personality, some humor. And the third part is trust, which is what we shared about reviews and results and things like that. You need to kind of add on those layers through automations, through text and emails, either before they get on a call, also after they get on a call, they're receiving these things from you on an ongoing basis. You set up the system once, make sure it's fine-tuned. And now everything that comes in is basically being funneled in and receiving these things from you. You set that up, you'll be far ahead of your competitors. Even though if somebody goes and checks out multiple people, they're hearing from you multiple times, and even months later, they're gonna come to you. You're gonna have a probably 3 to 5x better conversion rate by just having this automated KLT kind of system.
Yeah, I mean, and when you think about the way that many other businesses operate, be it a dentist or a carpet cleaning or plumber, there's plenty of businesses that have this automated drip campaign that comes in even after you've set the appointment, right? Just to remind you, here's the 3 things that you ought to do before you come in for your dental screening, or here's the 4 things that the plumber is going to look at when he shows up to do, the review of the system or whatever. But most law firms don't have anything like that, right? Most of us have somewhere on our website buried, here's the 12 questions to ask an injury lawyer or the documents that you ought to have ready for your initial consultation. But almost nobody is doing, in the space between the initial phone call and the consultation, the sending of documents and the pre-qualifying of people and the testimonial videos. And you do a really, really good job at Legal Funnel of reviews are everywhere. Like when I'm on your landing page, I got to scroll way down before I get to the end of the reviews and the testimonial videos. How long did it take you to put all of that stuff together?
It's an ongoing basis. Basically a practical way to be able to kind of what we talked about. If you want to put this, by the way, if anybody wants to put this into action, go right now, create a folder on your computer called proof in capital letters. And from now on, be on the lookout for any time that your client says something nice about you, or you go take screenshots of your Google reviews or your Yelp reviews, take screenshots and build up this portfolio of reviews. So that's what I did across all my law firms. I have a proof folder, I just drop it in there. And then when it's time for me to update my phone on my website, I just tap into there. And I actually have like 500, 600 more. I just haven't had time to go update it. But that really becomes your biggest kind of equity, biggest leverage that you have to differentiate yourself from other people. And that's also something else that I realized was a defense mechanism for people that were copying me. If I can somehow make my funnels uncopyable with a lot of testimonials and things, then it's very hard to copy that. And luckily, it's actually proof, but nobody has been able to kind of replicate the kind of same results.
And so, Sam, now you're running a community with 500 lawyers in it. I think you told me you have 30 people on your staff, and you're about to launch a new legal training program.
It's a rebranding, but it's beyond the rebranding because it's actually changing the mission. So in the beginning, Legal Funnel was kind of focused on client generation and funnels and things like that. But we realized that there's a lot more other bigger problems. Is not just client generation, but there's also a lot of things with systems and hiring and math behind it, everything, the automations and things like that. So we're basically rebranding. We haven't done it officially. I think it will be in the next couple of weeks. But let me just share it here. We're rebranding to My Legal Academy, mylegalacademy.com, where basically it will be a platform for having other instructors, even beyond me, that could share things when it comes to health, fitness, self-development, anything that basically makes a lawyer achieve their full potential. So yeah, if anybody's interested, again, either go to legalfunnel.com or check out My Legal Academy. By the time this is probably posted, hopefully that thing will be up. So we could tell you exactly how we can also help you work smart, scale fast, and enjoy your life.
I think you're doing 2 things there, which are really smart. Number one, it's not all about Sam. You have other mentors who are subject matter experts in fitness or finance or whatever, who are coming in and teaching that. I think that's really smart. And number 2, it's a holistic approach to lawyers, right? I mean, lawyers as a profession, we're depressed alcoholics, we get divorced, and we don't spend any time with our kids. But all of that is solved, treated, whatever you want to say, by taking a more holistic approach and looking outside the law firm for meaning. Because for many of us, it's not what's happening within the 4 walls of our firm that's providing the meaning in our life. It's family, friends, vacations, and other forms of happiness. So good for you for focusing not only on client generation and how to run a great law firm, but how to live a great life. So what kind of things do you like to do when you're out of the office?
I like poker. And the reason why I like poker is because it's a very mentally stimulating game with a lot of strategy. So there's a lot of mental component, but also psychologically, how to read players, how to be able to handle losses, how to be able to handle wins. If you get unlucky, if you're unlucky for 2 hours, how do you still continue playing a good game? And there's so much that I've learned about life and in business that I've learned on the poker table. And people who have played it long enough kind of understand what I'm sharing. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. Also, these days I don't have that much time to be able to, somebody hits me up like, let's have lunch. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I really can't. But I found that poker game is actually scalable. It's a scalable way to kind of hang out and have fun together.
Well, the 4-hour work week doesn't work so well when you're running 10 different businesses. So.
No, and that's the thing. It's 4-hour work week is misleading. That doesn't 4 hour doesn't mean you work 4 hours.
Right.
I think it means probably work like 80 hours. But ultimately, it does lead to the freedom. It's the freedom of time. Ultimately, I think that's the freedom of control, that you can do whatever. And that's what I did. Like I had to go somewhere this morning. Nobody knows that I stepped out for 2-3 hours and I came here for this recording.
Yeah. Perfect. So Sam, as we wrap up here, you said it once before, but remind people where they can find you.
Sure. So if you just go on YouTube and search my name, either Sam Mollaei, or go on Google, search for Legal Funnel or My Legal Academy, you'll probably find my videos. I'm playing the long-term game. I'm not going anywhere. This is what I know best and what I enjoy doing. So I'm going to be doing this for the next 40, 50 years. I've been saying it. So yeah, just follow me along on the journey, watch my videos. And then if you're interested in joining a program or learning more about a program, just go to legalfunnel.com so we can tell you more about it.
All right. We'll include all that stuff in the show description. Sam, it's been good talking to you this afternoon.
You too, Brian. And Brian, I'm going to give you props because not only are you successful in your own business, but you're also doing this podcast and sharing so much value. And I know you put a lot of effort into these. So props. I could already tell. I know that understand all these concepts. You know all these things. So I'm going to give you power for your audience and everything to grow exponentially beyond your dreams.
Hey, brother, I appreciate it.